Good evening, everyone. So I'm Vani from Amrita University. I'm a second year BTech student, computer science. I'm actually a part of the coding club of the college called Code at Amrita. So today I'll be taking the session on just few basic interactive problems. So this is the agenda for the day. We'll be looking at two simple problems, one based on the string and one based on arrays. We'll just read the problem statement, look at the constraints, then maybe discuss a few approaches to the solution, and then try coding it in C++, and also handle the corner cases during the testing. So, I hope you'll be familiar with Codeforces. It's just a website which hosts the various competitive coding contests, and there are many other platforms like that, like CodeChef, AtCoder, HackerRank. Everything are really good. You can practice from any one of them. So this is the first problem of the day. It's based on strings. So I'll just give a minute, like you can read through the problem. The main thing in these questions are they can be a bit long or a bit maybe sometimes confusing. Sometimes it will be too long, it starts becoming irritating, but still once we find the main sentence from that given problem statement, we'll understand what the question is. That will tell us basically what the logic we have to apply. So all of you please go through the question, and as we solve, I'll be coding live here. So if you have any doubts, please raise your hand, and you'll be allowed to ask your doubts. So please read the question. So basically, it's not much of a problem here. There is a forum just like social media where sometimes boys use girls' photos and talk like a girl. So it's hard to say or the gender of the person at the first glance. So the hero in this question wants to chat with a girl. He starts talking and they meet in real, and he finds out that it's actually a boy. So he comes up with a way to recognize the user's gender from the username. So this one line here, that tells us what the question is asking for. That is it gives us a hint about how we have to solve it. If the distinct characters in one's username is odd, then he is a male, and if it is even, it's a female. So we are asked to determine the gender of this person. Okay. So the constraints are the inputs which they give usually in this case, non-empty string means they'll definitely give you a username. It won't be a blank, and it will be only English characters lowercase, and the username contains at most 100 letters. So this is one of the test cases that they had given there. WJMZBMR is a username, and we have to check if the username it's a girl or a boy. So what we do is we'll sort the given string. So we'll get BJ, MMR, WZ. Why do we need this sorting? Because you can see that once sorted, the two M's in this string come closer. So we are looking for distinct characters. So we don't want any duplicates here. So that's why we are sorting. We'll look from first, and we'll use a vector to see these distinct characters. Like I'm not telling in detail what a vector is. You can consider it like a container right now. Where when we find a distinct character, we'll just put it into it. So we start this, start looking at the string from the first. It's a B. We haven't seen a B before, so we'll just put it into the container. Then we go to the next character. It's a J. We haven't seen a J before, so we'll add it to the vector. We see M. We haven't seen it before, so we'll put it in the vector. When we go to the next character, it's again an M. So we have already seen this before. It's a duplicate. So we don't need to put it in the container. So next, we'll do for R, W, and Z. So now our vector is populated with B, J, M, R, W, and Z. And we'll count how many are in this vector. So like there are obviously 6 characters here in this case. And 6 is an even number, so we know it's a female, so we can just output chat with her. If it was 5 or 7, like if it was an odd number, then we'll say it is a male, so ignore him. And how do we check if it's a odd or even number? Like if it's divisible by 2, the remainder is 0, then it's an even. If it's not divisible, we get a remainder of 1, so it's an odd number. It's a pretty basic solution. So like there are no corner cases to this. It's like a direct solution. Like they aren't asking any roundabout ways of this. It's pretty direct. So we see that there is no corner cases. So we'll just try coding it. This is the basic structure of any C++ program. So header files, you can include, like usually we include IOStream, string, vector, algorithm, like that. There are various header files. So this bit/std C++, that's basically, it includes all the standard libraries. So in competitive coding, it's kind of good to use that because you might miss out, in that hurry or something, you might miss out any of the header files. So this one takes care of all of them. Okay, so let's look at the question. The input is just a string. So we'll give string and then input it. And we need this vector to see how, to see what are the distinct characters in it. So we'll initialize a vector. And it's all our alphabets, right? So we need a character vector. And then first what we did, we sorted it. Actually, like don't worry too much about these inbuilt functions like sort and all. You can always find it anywhere on the web. Just go search for it. You'll get everything. Okay, so first we sorted it and we'll just put the first element of the string into the vector. Of course, we won't find the first element before, right? It'll obviously be a distinct one. And then we'll start from the next. We'll take a character. In this character, we'll initialize the last element in vector. Like it's sorted array, so basically we need to know what is the last element. So with respect to that, we'll be checking if the next element we find is a duplicate or not. So v dot back will give you the last element which is at present in the vector. And then we check if s of I is same as p. If it is same, then we need not take it. So we'll just continue with the iteration. Else, we need to put that into the vector. So we dot push back. And then, okay, so now we have all the distinct elements inside the vector. Now we need to count them. So basically, how do we count them? We could just take the size of the vector. You can think the vector as something similar to arrays, just dynamically, flexible. So if v dot size modulus 2, so like this pushback, sort, v dot size, all these are like built-in functions. You can read about them later on. equal to 0, that means if the length is even, then we know it's a girl. So chat with her. Else it's a boy. So ignore him. We need to see whether it's the exact phrasing, like here they have given the output. Even a single letter is different and they'll give you a wrong answer. Okay, so let's try running it. One test case. Yeah, in all these contests, there will be penalty for wrong submission. So it's always good to check this custom invocation and just check if there's any error, and then finally go submit it. Okay, so there will be like around 50 to 100 test cases and it's like accepted. So our logic was correct. So anybody has any doubt in this question, or like we can go to the next question? Yeah, someone raised their hands.
Anupama, you can just speak now. You can ask your doubt.
Thank you. Can we use insertion sort when we are sorting this?
Yeah, like you can use any of the sort, like bubble sort, insertion sort, exchange selection. It doesn't matter. Like when you have an inbuilt function, like when you're it's a competitive perspective, right? So you need to save time and code. So instead of writing like 10, 15 lines of code for sorting, you already have a built-in function. So just call it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have doubt? No, Ani, you can continue.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the next question. It's based on arrays. This is a bit longer question. So I'll give you 1 minute, or if you please read the question. Like they'll be having a lot of stories, just leave out, look for the most important sentences that will give you the hint how to solve it. So I'll just explain the question once. There's a colonel, military colonel, and he wants to line up N soldiers in the order of non-increasing order of their height. So what does this non-increasing order mean? So like we can consider it as a decreasing order, but not completely decreasing. There's a catch in this. what is it is, this colonel is rather short-sighted. So he thinks the soldiers are lined up correctly if the one with the maximum height stands at the first and the one with the minimum height stands at the last. Okay. So that's the only thing we need to look for. The first soldier must have the maximum height and the last soldier must have the minimum height. And we really don't care what's in the middle. So suppose this max soldier was somewhere in the between, in the middle. So this colonel can swap any adjacent person and make him come to the front. So he needs 1 second to do one swap. And the question is asking us to count the minimum number of swaps or the time required for this swaps. Okay. So like here, let's look at this example. Like that's the one they have given. Like 4 is the one with the maximum height, it's the front, and the 1 is with the minimum height, it's at the back. So this order is correct. Whereas in this, the one with the minimum height is in the middle. So, and we don't want that, that's wrong. Okay, and the constraint given is that there can be 2 to 100 soldiers, and here represent the number of soldiers, and A1, A2, A3, all of these are like the respective heights of each soldier. Okay, so this is the test case that they have given there. So let's look at it. They have given n as 4, that means there are 4 soldiers with heights 33, 44, 11, and 22. At a single glance, you can see that 44 is the maximum height and 11 is the minimum height. So, okay, so you can just make the 44 come here. So that will require one swap. And you can make this 11 go here. So that will give us a total of 2 swaps. Okay. So how do we actually find this? We can, since it's just 100 people, we can just run 2 loops. One loop to find the position of the maximum element and another loop to find the position of the minimum element. Like as the number of soldiers increase, like 10 raised to 5 or 10 raised to 9, doing this way can be a bit messy. Like they'll have a time limit, right? So we'll need to find some optimal solution for that, but I'll leave it that to you. You can find it out later. So here in the first loop, this is the first loop. Here we'll initialize max to the first element in the array, that is 33. And we'll start the checking from the second element. And here we'll see that 44 is greater than 33. So we'll make the max come to 44. Then we'll check the next one. 11 is smaller, so just leave it, continue on with the iteration. Then we'll see 22, that's also smaller than 44. And that's the end of the array. So pos1 here represents the index of the maximum array, maximum element in the array. And the point to be noted here is that it's 0 to n minus 1, like that's the indexing we are using here. So 4 elements are here, so it will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. That's why the pos1 value here is 1. And here we'll do the second iteration to find the minimum element. Similarly, like we'll give minimum as the first element. Then we'll check this one. 44 is obviously greater, so continue on. Then we'll see 11. 11 is now minimum lesser than 33, so we'll give minimum to 11. And then we'll go to next iteration. We'll find 22 is bigger, so leave it. And that's the end of the array. And we find the pos2, that is the index of the minimum element here, that is 2. Okay, so we need to see how many swaps are required. Now, how do we find that? The maximum element here is at index 1, that is over here. And to make it come to the index 0, we just require one swap, right? So the number of swaps that will be required for finding the maximum element is pos1 minus 0. And n minus 1 is the last one in the array. So like minimum element here is at index 2. So how many swaps are required here? Like n minus 1 minus pos2. That is a bit like you can tell it from observation. You need to observe it carefully, like then you'll know. Suppose like just for example, I'm telling you need this 22 to come to the front. So how much do you need? 1, 2, 3. That is n minus 1 minus 0. That is 3 minus 0, that is 3. So like we'll just come up with this logic from like observation. So this logic kind of seems okay. So we'll just code it. Okay, let's look at the test case. First line of the input is n. So first we'll declare n and then C in it. Now we need an array of length n. So declare an array A of length n. And then from I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, just C in A of I. Okay. Now what was the first step? To give max and min, to initialize them to the first element in the array. So int max equal to A of 0 and min equal to A of 0. Okay. So we initialize the max and min to the first element, and we start checking from the second element in the array. So int I equal to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. First we'll check the position of the max element in the array. So if A of I is greater than max, then okay, we have to declare position also. Sorry. If pos1 and pos2 tells the position of max and the minimum element respectively. That also will initialize to first one in the element in the array. Okay, so if A of I is greater than max, then max equal to A of I and first one equal to I. With this, we'll get the maximum element in the array. Then we'll check for the minimum element. If A of I less than minimum equal to, okay, less than or equal to, because there can be multiple cases like where the, yeah, we will show you. This case, we had two ones, right? But the second one is more closer, like it's at the correct position where it's supposed to be. So that's what we are looking for. We need the minimum element at the rightmost. So we need to, even if the elements are equal, we need to check that. That's why here A of I less than or equal to min. Min equal to A of I, and positive will become I. Okay. So now we have the position of max element and the min element. Then we'll see it's just direct formula, like answer was position 1 minus 0, so that you can understand, plus n minus 1 minus position 2. Okay, and then see out answer. This seems fairly good, and you can run it. Okay, so it gave us the answer that was correct. Like 44 needed to go one swap left and 11 needed to go one swap right. So total answer is 2. But then we'll be like, okay, we got answer, so we can just submit it. But one thing we'll overlook here is there is a corner case, and that will be when pos2 is less than pos1, that is minimum comes before the maximum. So what happens here is 11 needs to go to the right, right? So the minimum element must be at the right and the maximum element must be at the left. So minimum will go 2 swaps and the maximum will go 2 swaps. So you can see that this 1144, that swap, we are counting it twice. But actually, like just within one swap, they'll get swapped, right? So we don't have to count that twice. But in this logic, when we do 2 iterations, we'll end up counting it twice. So we'll need to give a -1 there. So that's the only corner case here when the minimum element comes before the maximum element. So we'll just add that also. If pos2 is less than pos1, then answer equal to answer -1. Okay. Now we'll just run just to check any compilation errors are there. It seems good, nothing went wrong. So we'll just see submit it. And it got accepted. So basically that's how you look for corner case. Sometimes when you just submit it, you will find like sample test cases may pass, but when you just submit it, it will give you wrong answer. So this corner case is something you should be really careful of. Anybody has questions? You can raise your hand. Okay, like nobody has any questions, I hope. I hope it's clear. Like if you don't understand now, like it's okay, just go through these questions. It is the string one was boy or girl, and this one is arrival of the general. Just go to code forces. It's easy, just give a sign up and try coding it. So I guess that's it. Like we can wind up this session. Thank you guys.
Vani, you can go through the test cases. No, there are a lot
Yeah.
of test cases, right? You can just show the test cases. Okay.
It's this the other problem, right?
Yes, both the problems you can just walk through the test.
Okay. Like the second test case is a bit long, so like when I say it might end up confusing, so it's better that you just read through it. I'll just tell you what's happening. So at a glance, we'll just in the first one we had discussed now. Second one, we'll just see like at a glance we know that 76 is the maximum element and 10 is the minimum element. So they are at the extreme polar opposites. 76 should be at the first and 10 should be at the last. So we'll see like instead of taking this 10, we could it's easier for us to bring this 10, right? So like the number of swaps decreases. We need to count the minimum number of swap. So that's what they have done here. First, they took these both and then swapped it. So it became 58 and 10. And then they just left it there. And then like they went with the last element, the maximum one. So 76 and 40, they swapped it. It came here. 76 and 63, 76 came left. Again, they brought the 10 here, so that this is where I was talking about that corner case, where like minimum is on the left and the maximum is on the right. So we just bring them in closer, like one by one. In this step, they swap 30 and 10, and now within a single swap, like you can just swap it, and they'll be the right position, like minimum on the right and maximum on the left. And then go like 76 will be like 1, 2, 3 to the left, and 10 can go 1, 2 to the right. So just count the total number of swaps, you'll be getting 10 here. And the other question, Like in this example, the second example, we need to like we'll see how many distinct characters are there. So X, that's 1, I, that's 2, A, that's 3, O, 4, D, 5. We've seen A before, don't count. We've seen O before, don't count. So we have 5 distinct characters in the string. So 5 is an odd number, so he's a boy, ignore him. Same way in this case, like 7S is 1, E2, V3, we've seen E before, ignore, N4, K5, P6, L7, and U8, as we have seen, so ignore. So like total number of distinct characters in this string is 8. It's even, so chat with her. So like I hope the test cases are clear. I highly recommend you all to just go solve these problems so that you'll get a better understanding of it.
Thank you, Vani.
Thank you so much, Vani. Students, if you have any doubts, you may please raise your hands or you can type it in the chat box. Else we can end the session now. So that's all. Thank you so much, Vani. Thank you so much for explaining. It was a well-explained session. Thank you so much for that. So we'll see you all for another session next week. So till then, have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.